Hello and welcome to another episode of Yeah, We Read It. I'm one of your hosts, Maggie.
And I'm also one of your hosts. My name is Laura.
And this season, if you don't know what we're up to, we are doing the Summer I Turned Pretty series by one Jenny Han. Really kind of the queen of young adult stuff lately. She's been killing it. I started
Ah,
watching XO Kitty. That's why I'm bringing that up.
wow.
It's pretty okay. But anyways, that's not this. This is The Summer I Turned Pretty, and we are on the second book. It's Not Summer Without You.
Aw.
Where we left off was that Conrad and Belly are dating. Um, in the last book, and this one kind of explores that. Kind of has that theme going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And oh, this book was a roller coaster. I'll say, what a fucking ride. Like, it was really sad, it was really weird, it was just interesting, the love triangle developing more.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait for us to just dive into it because this trilogy, from what I've learned as I've read it, a little bonkers in the best way possible.
Yeah, I will say, and I think we kind of went over this last week, but this has been by far, I think, one of the most fun series Laura and I have gotten into, that to the
Yeah.
point that I think we finised this like way ahead of time, which we
Yeah,
don't
yeah. Normally we're
typically
like, "Oh
do.
shoot, I got to read that book for that podcast we host." But this one, like, I was like I was guzzling
Mhm.
these
That is the
books
word of the
up.
summer for Laura is guzzle.
Yeah, it's a guzzle summer. Tell
It's
me
a
I'm wrong.
it's a
Tell me
guzzle
tell me
slumber.
I'm wrong, Maggie. Tell me I'm wrong.
I said slummer because I was thinking slurp slurp and summer at the same time.
Slurp. It's a slurpy summer.
It's a slurpy slummer.
It's a slurpy
Um,
summer.
so, like I said at the end of the last book, Belly finally got what she has been working for her entire life,
And
which is
and
Conrad.
and her and Conrad are gonna run away to somewhere in the middle of December. He drove 5.5 hours to pick her up. Where are they going?
And we don't know.
And
Instead,
we don't
the
know.
we don't know. The
We
book
don't.
starts off with Belly having like just a dream of a moment. She's gotten the
Ah,
guy.
she
Everyone's
fooled me. Jenny Han fooled me with this scene. I was like, this is real. And then it wasn't.
Everyone's back at the beach house, and if you are a fan of the show, you guys might have seen a viral tweet about this. It is all just an illusion. This scene where Belly is imagining her life with Conrad, it's a flashback because we get a fucking whammy of a sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is Susannah's dead.
Yeah. She's like, this wasn't real. Susannah was dead. She died 2 months ago. So we get like this beautiful, like her and Conrad are kissing. It's the porch. Everyone loves that they're together. It's the best summer. And then it's like, no, it wasn't the best summer because Susannah died 2 months ago. Her and Conrad weren't together. And she's at Macy's fucking pool for the day. And apparently that sucks.
Yeah, it's this guy's like just Macy's place. She doesn't want to be there. She's with Taylor, and it seems like she's going to be a lot more reserved this book because
Yeah.
of how she's processing Susanna, who is Conrad and Jeremiah's mother's death.
Yeah, and Taylor, her bestie, as we know, is really trying to hook her up with this guy Corey. And Belly isn't into it. Belly's like, dude, now's not the time for me to think about boys. I am grieving, which is valid.
But
But
honestly,
we
maybe he should be because now Conrad's at college and he hasn't really called Belly like
yeah,
for a while.
well, yeah, no, we learned that at the end of last summer, he didn't call her immediately. Like they got together, he didn't call her. He
Yep.
waited until like September and then they started calling each other all the time. They became a thing. We do learn that they went to cousins in December. We don't know what happened just yet.
Mhm.
Just so that little pickup ride that we got, that's where they went, but we don't know why.
Yep.
And they ended things in May. Again, we don't know why. We just know things ended in May. And that's really the last time they spoke. But now Taylor's like, let's get us ready for Corey's birthday party because you two are going to hook up.
Yep, she's like, "Please try to make out with him, just, like, wear a hot dress, it'll work, he likes you." If you're just tuning into this season, important to know, Belly does have C boobs,
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Can
so you
relate.
know.
Can relate to that. I also have C boobs. So
I'm not there
it's,
yet, but maybe next summer I'll turn
yeah,
pretty.
maybe next summer you'll finally get C boobs,
Yeah.
Maggie. We can only hope. We also know that Taylor's dating this guy Davis. We don't know much about him, but Belly at this party is like not a party vibe. She's still
Mm-mm.
just really like gutted over this and processing a lot of Susannah's death. She goes to lay on the trampoline because no one's on the trampoline. That's how sad she is, that she won't even jump on the trampoline. She's just going to lay on it.
I know, and, like, I mean, sometimes a little jump up in the air and a cannonball, it might help. It might help your problems.
Could you imagine your therapist like hearing about like, yeah, someone really close to my family like passed away. She was like a second mom to me. And your therapist is like, hey, have you ever thought about going boing boing on a trampoline?
Your therapist is like, "What if you got everyone close to you, people who you love, and you rolled up in a little ball and you played popcorn on the
Yeah.
trampoline? Have you
Have
ever
you thought
tried
about
it?"
that? And you're like, I don't really think that would help. And she's like, no, I really think that maybe a little up and down jumpy action could be something you need.
Listen, in high school, when I figured out I was depressed for the first time, my therapist was like, "What's something you like?" And I said, "Rock band on Wii." And she said, Have you ever thought about having a rock band Wii party?" And I was like, Come on, that's not gonna solve it."
Well,
Like,
did you have a rock band Wii party, Maggie?
no, I was too scared. I
Then
was like,
how would you know if it would have worked or not? You're
"We gotta
self-sabotaging.
we have to have a belated, Rock Band We to Cure Depression party, I guess, for me."
Yeah, yeah, we should throw you a rock band Wii party. I think that would be really beneficial for everybody involved.
Belly doesn't have Rock Band, though, she just has this trampoline to look
Nor
at the
do we know if
stars.
she likes rock band or Wii.
Important questions that aren't answered this book,
Ask the
and
author.
and Corey sees her getting on the trampoline, which, like, oh no, if I just wanted to be, like, cocooned in my grief and you feel the weight shift on a trampoline and it's, like, the
Yeah.
guy you've been avoiding, ugh.
It's hard. It's because it's hard to get off a trampoline already, more so when someone's on it now. So, tricky
Mhm.
situation. She gets off pretty quickly, which I was like, hell yeah, do what you gotta do, get away from him.
But Corey
And
does try asking her out since she isn't with
yeah,
Conrad, and she's yeah, exactly like
she's
Gloria
not into
said,
it.
not into it.
And Taylor, kind of teetering on her being one of my favorite characters, tells Belly to get over herself, which is not really the best advice because it's again only been 2 months since Susannah died. If it had maybe been like 10 years, I'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe we need to, move on a little bit. But 2 months is still very, very fresh.
Yeah, so obviously they kind of fight about this. Things eventually do settle, but as we know with Belly and Taylor's relationship, there will probably be a little bit of lingering resentment in the back
They
of her head.
fight. Those girls just they fight.
Those girls just fight. They're
They
like our
just
daughters.
can't they're like our daughters.
They can't get
Um
enough.
Here's where we get an interesting shift in this book that we did not have in the first book is Jeremiah is a narrator in some chapters.
You got it. Slummer.
He I'm I cannot talk today apparently. I'm just goo goo gaga over the series. So Jeremiah gets POV chapters not equally throughout this book, just placed in individual moments, which is
Mhm.
interesting. How did you feel about that?
Um, sometimes they didn't add, sometimes they were just short. Like this one is
Yeah.
very short. All we get about this is Jeremiah's perspective talking about kind of his dad crying and that feeling weird about Susanna's death since his
Yeah.
dad cheated on her and then asked for a divorce amidst her getting cancer again.
Yeah.
So that one added kind of, but it was also only like 2 pages. So sometimes I was
Yeah.
like, is it necessary to the plot? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I found myself at the entire book wondering, like, I get like some of these moments like do add, but like I'm also like, I guess you technically could have this entire book without these few pages of perspective.
Hmm.
But also in that chapter, he basically watches his dad and Conrad cry. So it's like a Fisher boy tear fest.
It is a Fisher Boy
Um,
tear fest.
Yeah. And then we get into a really like this entire like portion of the book kind of talking about her death and her funeral just really made me sad. I was also like 2 beers in when I was drinking it, so I just like immediately started
Oh.
crying because Belly, now we get her back to her perspective. She's talking about like where she was when she died and like why she was wearing what she was wearing. And really like how like the funeral went. And it was just I like stopped taking notes. I just went like this is all really sad because it just felt very realistic
Yeah, it just it
Yeah.
I mean, it happened at a time where Susanna kinda passed in the middle of the night, and she was
Mhm.
gone, and her mom was having a hard time coping with it, and then at the
Yeah.
funeral, she sees the boys, and it's revealed that she hasn't seen Conrad since prom,
Yeah.
and this is also when we figure out, because I think it was, like, at least for me, the first book was really confusing in figuring out. I didn't know if Mr. Fisher and her, like, were divorced because of a
Yeah.
reason, and then this is when we figured out that he was cheating on her, which
Yeah,
really
which is
sucks.
icky. And drama just has to follow Belly wherever she
Mhm.
goes because they're at like the after funeral, just kind of condolence hangout that you have.
Yeah.
And Belly's trying to be good girl, loved by the Fisher brothers to death does she part.
Mhm.
She goes to get Jeremiah some food, but then she gets tasked with going to get Conrad some food. And like her mom's like, he's probably in the basement. And she goes to bring him food in the basement, and his head is in his ex girlfriend's lap. And she gets upset.
Yeah, she's really upset. Aubrey, his ex, is, like, stroking his hair, and she kinda starts throwing a bit of a temper tantrum that ends with her telling him to go to hell,
Yikes.
on his mom's funeral's, like, death day.
Yeah, I feel like I excuse a lot of Belly's actions because I'm like, she's a teen and she doesn't know any better. But I'm like, Belly, this is not the time nor the place to
Yeah.
act out your grievances towards this boy who dumped you. I get like you're grieving too. Process it in a different way right now. You're causing a scene during a time when everybody is grieving.
In a public setting too, and, I mean, he cuts the knife even deeper right back. He says it was a mistake to start something with her. He knew she
Yeah.
was gonna act like a child, and then she says, "I hate you," and he says, "Good."
Yikes. Maybe they weren't meant to be together, you know?
Maybe not. Summer lovin'
Maybe
had me
not.
a blast.
Oh,
Way back
don't we
when.
love Grease in this house.
We
Um
do.
Now we're back in the present day. It is the day after Corey's party that did not, end very well. I
Mhm.
will say about Corey's party, my favorite thing Belly did was just wondering if she could take hot dogs home. She's like, I wonder if I could just like wrap those up and take them home for later.
That is
And
so
we don't
slay.
know if she did. We don't know if
I
she
would
did.
do the same
I
thing, to
would
be
do the
honest.
same, like especially like hot dog wrapped in foil for later. Sign me up.
Oh, so
Um,
good.
but Jeremiah calls Belly and says, "Hey, Conrad is missing."
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not in summer school, so this is where the plot turns. We're getting the third side of that triangle. She's gonna help
Woohoo.
Jeremiah find him and maybe fall in love on this little road trip.
Who she yeah, Belly's like kind of like says yes because she says it's because like, well, because we've all known each other for so long, but selfishly, Belly's like, this will be my chance to make things right after telling Conrad to go to hell and that I hate him and never want to talk to him at his mom's funeral.
Mhm.
So she lies to her mom and says she's gonna stay at Taylor's for a couple days. She lies and says Taylor has dumped her boyfriend. And she's really upset. She fills Taylor in on this plan. Taylor's gonna cover for her because Taylor is a good friend.
Yeah, she
Um,
mostly is just like, "Honestly, maybe this will help you get closure and get over
yeah,
it, because 'cause I'm
yeah,
tired."
exactly. Taylor's like, I will lie to you, lie for you on the account of that I really want you to get the fuck over this guy because he sucks, which
Mhm.
honestly fair. Jeremiah picks Belly up at Taylor's house and they're off. But we get Jeremiah's point of view first of a flashback of when he started liking Belly.
Yep, it seems it was last summer, which was, in his words, when puberty hit.
Yeah,
He
C
really
cups
loves
is what
her.
he said.
Yeah. Puberty hit for her, not him.
Yeah,
And he is really upset that Conrad, just kinda came around and decided to finally like her back that summer because,
yeah,
she's just a prize to win, not a person, just a
yeah.
prize.
Yeah, and Jeremiah also ends this little point of view moment by saying his feelings he's mad at Belly for liking Jeremiah, but I sorry, liking Conrad, but Jeremiah still does have lingering feelings for Belly. So like we learned that
Mhm.
like, he's a little upset about it, but like it's still on the table.
Yep.
And we also learned they immediately are like, great, now that we're going to find Conrad, we don't know where to go. And I'm like, y'all should have thought about this maybe a little bit more.
They go to
Um,
the first place I would have started, which was his
right?
dorm room
Yeah,
at
exactly.
Brown.
Yeah. Um, and on their way there, we get another flashback of the last time Belly saw Susanna. And this is really sad because Susanna was really trying so hard to not look sick for Belly, and Belly was like really trying to avoid this moment because she
I
knew what it
know.
meant.
This
It's
made me
very,
so
very
sad.
sad. But Susanna
Yeah.
also does tell Belly that she wants her to look after Conrad. Um, so that's also kind of, I think, a lingering reason why she's still so hung up on him.
Susanna's out here giving these kids complexes because they're all
Right?
doing it for each other without
Susanna, I
knowing.
love you, but you're ruining these children's lives.
First it was the dying, and then it was the giving them side quests.
Yeah, like exactly. You literally said if it's the last thing you do, you have to be betrothed to my son.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so she's like, "Listen, I know prom didn't go great. Just look out for Conrad, and he loves you." But also, like, does he? I don't know.
No, I don't think he does. Honestly, I feel like I could write a 10-page essay on reasons he does not love Belly.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, they are back to present day where Jeremiah and Belly are driving to the dorm and they're making small talk.
It's
Jeremiah
awkward.
says
It's
he's been to 5 proms.
Yeah, yeah, he
Slay.
has. Yeah,
And
he
he was
has.
prom king. Good for him.
Yeah. Oh my god. We get so many flashbacks in this, like, awkward car ride because we get another flashback to how Belly asked Conrad to prom. And this was so, like, it made me so sad for her because she basically, like, called him in the midst of, like, they're talking all the time because he's at college, and she's like,
Mhm.
"Hey, so, like, my prom's coming up," and he's like, "Yeah, I don't wanna go to that," and she's like, "Oh, but, like, it'd be really nice if you did," and he's like, "Literally, I don't wanna go with that, you, like, little C-cup loser," like, this is how I envision it, but, like, he's being
Exactly,
really
that's what he
mean
said.
to her, and then she basically has to, like, bribe him into going by making him jealous and being like, "Well, that's okay. Corey asked me today, so I guess I'll just go with him." And then Conrad's like, "No, no, no, I'll take you." And I'm like, "This is so unhealthy and gross."
And you think this is bad? Wait till the night of prom. So he agrees to go. He's really weird. He forgot her corsage.
Belly
Like,
has
come on.
This is the part that made me so upset. Belly has to ask him, "Did you only come because your mom made you?" And he doesn't, and he takes too long to answer. And I was just like, "Oh my fucking god."
So they go to prom with this vibe hanging over them. Taylor in the bathroom, she's like, by the way, Davis and I, we're gonna have sex after prom. And also, why is Conrad being so lame?
He's like, he won't even talk to her, like, he refuses to dance, he, like, won't do he literally, like, is just like a doll that's sitting there, like, it is nuts, like, does he not realize that he is literally, like, destroying her prom? Like, dude.
To make matters worse, after they slow dance, he asks if she wants to go somewhere to talk, which, like, ugh, we all know
Yeah.
what that means.
Like, buddy, what are you doing? Like, you're too old to be pulling this shit on a high school girl, like,
No.
literally, why didn't you just dump her before this and say, "Yeah, take Corey instead"? That's all you had to do. Why did you go to prom to dump her?
I know, you can't have everything. Don't string this girl along, but he
Jesus.
does. And this is when it seems like his mom made him come, which would be so embarrassing if I was dating someone.
Embarrassing.
And he's trying to leave to go back to Brown University that night, which is like 3 hours away.
Yeah, it's really awkward because he was supposed to stay at, like, their house that night because they were like, "Yeah, you drove all this way to take her to prom, you can sleep over," and he doesn't. Instead, we cut to Jeremiah's point of view of him actually going back to the Fisher household instead of Brown University. Conrad's just eating cereal, like nothing happened, and he watches Conrad lie to Susanna about, like, "Yeah, we danced all night and she looked beautiful, I gave her her corsage." He is literally lying to his mom about how great he treated Belly at prom, and it's awful. That's like, this is truly like the moment I
Yeah.
was like, if I didn't hate Conrad, this gave me everything I need to, like, continue to hate Conrad.
Oh, yeah. Jeremiah's like, I bet he fucked things up. And then yet again, we cut to present day. Conrad continues. He's not even here, but he's continuing being the worst because when they
Yeah.
go to Brown and they meet Conrad's roommate, the roommate doesn't even know who Belly is. They were dating from fall to May.
Yeah.
Doesn't even
That's
know.
like 6 to 8 months.
That's really long.
That's really long. And the roommate's like, who the fuck are you? And then to make matters worse,
I know,
a
there's so many
girl,
moments.
a
Ugh.
girl comes by and she's like, "Hey, is Conrad here? I left my sweater and he said I could come pick it up." And they're like, "No, he's missing." And she's like, "Oh shoot, well, found my sweater. Bye." Meaning that he's like obviously hooking up with other people.
Yes.
And she also knows that he's going to the beach. So like she's got intel.
She's got intel. Her name is Sophie, which is a beautiful name. Like, I would be sweating. I'd be sweating
Yeah.
over Sophie.
Sweating over
So
Sufi.
Sophia. So Jeremiah is not in the room, so Belly's like, "You know what? I'm gonna take this moment to snoop." I guess as you do when you don't are still not over your ex. And she
Yeah.
finds a Tiffany's box in the drawer of his desk with like an infinity sign that she knows is for her because he tutored her in math, which seems, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that's the segue.
Cool. Yeah. And Belly, on her journey to closure, decides to take this necklace and put it on. Um,
The minute she
Woof.
did that, I was like, that is not gonna play well
Oh
later.
my God. I got like secondhand embarrassment because like she truly is holding on to anything she can as like a meaning of him still like caring about her. And it's like, Belly, move on.
Which I think, I mean, I feel like Stakes, they always talk about your first love in that way
Oh,
of like, it's obsessive. And it's like, I mean, when they don't like you back or like don't know how to have the capacity to love you because we're
yeah.
what, 19 years old? Oh,
No, I mean,
devastating.
the reason I get so mad at it, 'cause it's just like it is so relatable. Because it's like I
Yeah.
feel like when I was like younger in my like 20s dating, I feel like I would give people so many chances and be like,
Hmm.
they're just misunderstood. They're just going through a hard time, but like they texted me today. That means they're thinking about me, and it's just like, no, they're a piece of shit. That's what they are.
I know. And then, it's like, it is relatable that she runs for Conrad, but as now that we're almost 30, we're like, no,
We're like,
don't do
Jeremiah,
it.
pick him. He's great. So they go to cousins, is where
They go to
the
they go to cousins. I know, she's like, You know what? Maybe this isn't a good idea," but Jeremiah's like, "Nah, you're going. This is bigger than a breakup.
Yep.
You gotta go."
Yeah, and we get another flashback. We're gonna find out what happened during their little December rendezvous. And honestly, I thought this was gonna be really steamy and
Me
romantic. It
too.
wasn't. It wasn't. They just like made out a bunch and like made hot chocolate. It was fine.
It's
It was
like
very
Conrad.
mid-level.
Yeah, they made a fire, they made out, they fell asleep. I feel like the hottest part of this flashback was that Conrad was like, "I wanna be a doctor." I was like, "Well, okay, hell yeah."
You're like, yeah, he's gonna be rich. That's really hot. Honestly,
That's
yeah,
really hot.
I was really waiting for the he stole her virginity type thing or took her virginity. Because I felt like that would also make sense of like I think why she was still holding on to him for so
Mhm.
long. Um, so I feel like that because like now I'm just like, so you all just like made out and then you got in trouble for lying to your mom for running away in December.
It was kinda cringe too, because it's like after she comes clean to her mom, next night, same thing, fire, the kissing, and then Conrad's like, "I don't wanna rush you, like, obviously I've done these things," and Belly's like, "Well, maybe I've done things too," and it's like, "Belly, what are we
Yeah.
doing? You can be
Yeah.
honest."
Yikes. Yeah, so back in present day, Jeremiah and Belly, they show up to Cousins Beach to the summer house. Conrad's there. They're like nothing's been going on. And
Oh,
he's
and he's not
annoyed.
happy. Yeah,
He is
he's not.
annoyed. Yeah, Conrad angry. And Jeremiah's like, you know what, Belly? You go get us some food. I'm gonna start laying the foundation to get this guy back into summer school so he can pass his courses.
So she goes to get food, she goes on the beach and cries first, but at the general store, she runs into someone who she has to tell that Susannah died, and that kinda messes her up a bit.
Yikes.
She's like, "I don't wanna
Yeah.
do this." So when she
But
gets back to the house, she, like, splits a beer. It's beer time.
it's beer time. Honestly, beer time.
Beer
When
time.
isn't it beer time? I'll always.
Beer.
I feel like anytime somebody offers me like a single beer, I'm just like, yeah, I'll have a single beer.
Oh, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah. But Conrad basically flat out says like when they're eating dinner, like, oh, I'm not leaving. Like, I don't really care what y'all have to say. So they're like, okay, maybe we just have to spend some time laying some more foundational work. And in this moment, Belly learns because when she was telling Taylor about like I'm going on this thing, Taylor was like, don't worry, I'm gonna pack some sexy things for you to make Conrad jealous. And
Yes,
we
she
learn
does.
that Taylor literally replaced every single thing in Belly's bag with like sexy little like nighties to wear to bed and like tiny bikinis. And I'm like, that is hilarious. That is awful and hilarious.
I loved it. I imagine, like, one of those, stringy, like,
Yeah.
satin lace,
Yes.
tops and then the shorts that match with little hearts on it,
Yes.
and so she's wearing that when Jeremiah comes by later to be like, I'm gonna work on Conrad tomorrow," and then we switch to Jeremiah's perspective, which is very fun, and it's, like, him being really stressed out that he saw Belly in these, like this nighty
Like,
getup.
it's basically lingerie. Like, it's basically, like, mostly covered lingerie, and he's like,
Yeah. She's this is and so after this, after Jeremiah's seen her, we switch back to Belly and she's calling Taylor and to kind of like yell at her about this little mishap with the clothes. And Taylor is like, you know what? Why me? Why are you going to find your ex? Let's talk
Yeah,
about that. The problem is not me like just
yeah,
taking all of your clothes.
which is honestly, is she wrong?
And she also right now hints that he cheated on her, which, as we saw in the dorm room, I mean,
It's
maybe is true.
probable, like, yeah, and, like, Taylor honestly is like, "Dude, you just need to, like, win him back over so you can reject him, easy," and I'm just like, honestly, not the worst plan because Conrad does suck.
Oh, I thought that was great advice to, like,
Yeah,
rebuff him brutally. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely do
Yeah,
it.
that's absolutely what she should do. Maggie and I being like, we're almost 30. We're so mature. And then we're like, she should absolutely win him back so she can crush his heart.
I think you gotta do those messy things at 19.
You
I think you
gotta. It's a
do.
fun story for later. Next morning it's breakfast.
Mhm.
And they're eating breakfast muffins like they do. A little nostalgia factor. Conrad once again says he's staying. Belly gets kind of irritated at this and starts to kind of like go into him a little
She
bit and
comes in hot. She says, "Gonna be
so
pretty
hard.
hard to be a doctor with no college degree," and I loved that. That was so funny.
And I also love Jeremiah as this both lovable goofball and like this eternal voice of reason because he's like, okay, Belly, maybe let's bring it back a little bit because we're not really solving the issue here.
Yeah, he really does. Belly and Conrad, everyone, they kind of storm off, and Belly during this time finds Susanna's hat, and she's like, "I just need to like swim a lot, to kind of
Yeah,
process this because they're going through things." Jeremiah leaves, and after Belly's been swimming for a while, she sees that Conrad was watching her swim, and he's like, "It's really admirable when you swim. Like, there's like no thoughts in your brain." It's kind of like a catch 22
yeah, it's
compliment.
weird. Then Belly immediately after this, she fills Steven in because he's still a character in the books. On like, hey, by the way, Conrad went missing, and then we found him in Cousin's Beach, and that's where I am right now. And Steven's a little jealous. He's like, oh, I would have liked to be included in on that. Which is
Yeah,
sad.
I know, poor Steven, he'll never be one of the guys, I guess. And neither
No.
will Belly, I guess their whole family just won't be a guy. Won't be one of the guys.
But to make the plot move even faster, a realtor shows up
Mhm.
and Belly's like, that's weird. And Conrad goes into business mode and he's like, ah, yes, we are canceling the sale of this house. I'm not leaving. I'm staying here for the summer. Also, this girl is my girlfriend. So it's like Delusion City is what I'm seeing.
Oh, no, I know, I really felt like he was just, like, trying to cover up some kinda lie, and then she
Yikes.
was like, "And I'm his girlfriend?" But the
Yeah.
gist is he's not leaving the house, dad isn't selling, and after this interaction, he asked Belly to please not tell Jeremiah about this, and she's realizing she's getting right back reeled in. She's like, "Wow, Conrad is doing this for the integrity of the house." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, Belly. Listen,
Yeah.
he's
It's
he's not a hero. He's
no,
he's just a
no, yeah.
person."
She constantly is putting him on a pedestal in any means she can find. So Belly starts to just like kind of like wait for him to tell Jeremiah. She opens a beer, sipping it on the deck, and that's when Mr. Fisher shows up, and
Oops.
she is just taking a sip of this beer, and she's like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Fisher. Um,
And as we know,
and
Mr. Fisher can be, like, not really that forgiving because we
no,
get a flashback into him being kind of an asshole to her and Jeremiah when they tried to make Slurpees in his really nice, blender and got it all over, like, his briefcase and
yeah,
stuff. So he can be kind
awkward.
of a scary guy.
He's kind of a scary dude sometimes. And Mr. Fisher and Conrad immediately fight, and Mr. Fisher storms off. He's staying at a hotel nearby, and
Mhm.
that immediately causes Conrad and Jeremiah to fight. And it's a lot.
Yeah, this is a big fight, and this was also a huge fucking red flag, as if we haven't given you enough. Mr. Fisher, their father, is like, I lost Susannah too. You know, she was my wife. And Conrad punches a wall. Conrad punches a
Yeah,
wall. He's like, you left because you cheated on her when she had cancer. And then dad's like, this isn't over. I'm gonna come back. The house, it's gonna be sold. Okay. I'm the adult.
yeah. Yeah, it's big yikes mode. And Jeremiah also in the midst of this, he storms off too because he's angry. We get Jeremiah's point of view here, and he's driving off and realizing that he's angry. And Jeremiah also very good at checking in with himself. He's like, I'm not really driving anywhere. I need to do it in action. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get pizza for everyone and help us all cool down. So he
Yeah,
goes
he
to get pizza
does.
and booze. And then we cut back to Belly, and Belly kind of gives up on this fight pretty quickly. She's like deciding what to keep from her room.
Yeah, she does. It's just her trying to decide. She's like, "What am I gonna keep?" And meanwhile, while Jeremiah's getting pizza, he also has the idea that he's like, "You know what? We're gonna throw one last rager. Like, I can't leave Conrad like this." Him and Conrad got in that huge fight about like I don't know. They have a lot of fights about like who has a relationship with Papa. A lot of daddy issues going
Yeah, a
on there.
lot of daddy issues, and also technically mommy issues now because she's dead.
I know.
Um, so they're all in on this party as they do a little like pregame like truth and dare session. They watch a home movie. Um, but
And
then
oh
oh
yeah. Oh, this is
yeah
sweet. Is this
yeah
when they're watching, like, a home movie, it's,
yeah
all of them, like, Susannah, uh, Laurel, Belly's dad, and Mr. Fisher. Oh, wait, so this is a flashback, now we're in a flashback. Guys,
yeah.
keep up, come on. And
There's so many flashbacks, it's really hard to remember.
was Belly's parents, Susannah and Mr. Fisher, they go out dancing and, um, like, we kinda get the dynamics between the fact that both couples went through a divorce and,
Yeah.
um, like, since there was so much passion behind Susannah and Mr. Fisher, she was, like, kinda reflecting on how her parents' divorce really hurt a lot because she never noticed the passion
Mhm.
between her parents, which I mean, honestly, it makes a lot of sense for why she
Yeah.
goes after Conrad because it's like with an unstable partner like that, you're gonna have passion and obsession
Yeah,
because you're
exactly.
never having stability.
Yeah.
And after this, so she has this moment of self-reflection, and afterwards she's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go take shots with the boys and it's tequila time."
Yeah, and Belly immediately calls Taylor because, like, this entire time, Belly is supposed to be back this night for, like, a 4th of July party 'cause it's 4th of July. And Taylor's like, "Oh my god, a party, that would be so fun. Like, I would love to, like, drive up and, like, meet you." And Belly, like, is like, I don't know if that's a good idea. The party probably be done by the time you got here. And Taylor's like, dude, why are you being like this? Like, I'm just trying to hang out with you. And they have a low blow fight on both ends. Like, Taylor tells Belly she's being a crappy friend. I forget what Belly tells Taylor, but it was not good.
Yeah, Belly's like, "Shut up," to her a lot, and Uh, they just kinda leave this on, like, not really talking. Belly's like, "I don't have time for this. I have to get looking real hot to spite, Taylor at this point too."
Yeah.
And this is on the heels of, her and Conrad and Jeremiah playing Truth and Dare, and there's, like, kinda awkward tension because in this Truth and Dare, I think Jeremiah dares Belly to kiss him while Conrad was
Yeah.
in the bathroom, and then we also learned Jeremiah, like, had a girlfriend, so now it's like wheels are in motion for, like, there's a window open with Jeremiah,
Yeah.
and to top all of this, Belly getting hot, looking hot to spite Taylor, get back Conrad. She puts on Conrad's necklace.
Belly.
Why?
Belly. It's like I feel like Belly always all is so good at being like 3 steps forward, 10 back. Like that's kind of her MO. But then this party's like bumping. This party happens, it is bumping. Nicole, which was the Red Sox cap girl, is there, ready to flirt with Conrad. Belly is trying to fit in by like greeting all of the guests. It is very, very cringe.
I know. She spots Nicole and she chugs 2 beers. Belly, our queen who does not drink, and I was like, "Uh-oh,
This is bad
that's not
news.
good."
No.
She tries to get Jeremiah to, like, swim in the ocean, and he's like, "Yeah," but Conrad, wet blanket that he is, he's like, "No, you're drunk." And she runs to the ocean anyway because she is a liberated queen. She doesn't need this
Yeah.
wet blanket.
Yeah, and she kind of does it in a way to get Conrad to follow her, which he does. And he's like, "Hey, you're drunk. Get back inside." And she is using this as a moment to be like, kind of negging him on to like kind of follow her into the ocean. Conrad ends up picking her up and just straight up dropping her in the sand.
So embarrassing. So,
Yeah.
she's kinda, like, crying because she feels like she's a child. She apologizes for what she said on the day of the funeral about hating
Yeah.
him and going to hell, and he forgives her, but he's, like, walking away.
Yeah. He's
He
like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're good," basically.
So she does the worst possible move she could have done. She goes to bed, she's crying, it's like 4 AM. She calls her mom to come get her.
Yeah.
Oh no, oh
Yeah.
no.
Bad
Jeremiah
news.
sees all of this. He sees a passed out Conrad, Belly's come back crying, doesn't know about the mom, and he's fuel to the fire because he's like, I'm sure it was Conrad being an asshole, and he's so
Yeah.
mad.
No,
So
but
he's
then like
over it.
he's over it, but Conrad does tell Jeremiah that he is over Belly, and Jeremiah's like, "Cool, maybe there is finally a chance for me." He's the one clearing out the party and all that jazz.
Mhm.
So Jeremiah, too nice for his own good.
And
Next
Conrad
morning,
also asks Jeremiah's like, "Do you really like her?" to Conrad. He's like, "Do you really like her?" And Conrad answers, "No."
because he doesn't. He doesn't really like Belly. He only likes
Mm-mm.
Belly when he can't have her.
I mean, clears the door for Jeremiah. Jeremiah's like,
Yeah,
"Perfect. This is great for me. Love
Jeremiah's
it."
like 2 thumbs up for me. Um, the vibes continue to go down
Oh my
because
god, yeah.
a very pissed off Laurel, who is Belly's mother, wakes up Belly. Huge fight. Huge fight. Belly tries to, for some reason, throw fire into this fight that she drunkenly started by saying, "I wish Susannah was my mother," and hopes to make her mom upset. It doesn't work. She says some other things, but and then her mom straight up slaps her.
Yeah, because she obviously says that Susanna was my mom, and she also says, to Laurel, that Susanna, like, would never forgive her for
Selling the
or
house.
any of this, yeah,
Yeah.
that if the house got sold, and then her mom slapped her, and she's crying. She
Yeah.
goes to the beach, Jeremiah follows her,
She
and
throws up.
he's like, "Listen," yeah, doesn't he, like, throw up in the sand and then, like, bury it?
Yeah, she throws up in the sand and starts kicking it with sand to bury it.
That
And
is so
Jeremiah's like,
funny.
"Maybe you should get out of here, buddy, with your mom."
I know. I mean, like, she's been so consumed in her grief and,
Yeah.
just, like, I feel like they're both like, everything's going to shit, but she's like she goes back inside, mom apologizes, she's like, "I've just been so overwhelmed with the death of my best friend," and
Yeah.
she says that she wishes Belly had told her about Conrad and Jeremiah because she also wants to take care of them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good apology moment, and she says she'll call Mr. Fisher.
Mhm.
So something that Belly said worked. And then we do get Jeremiah's point of view again of Belly telling him that her mom's going to be calling his dad. And Laurel goes and tells Jeremiah to get breakfast supplies. So we've got a plan, folks.
It's breakfast time. We get kind of an unnecessary flashback of a time when Belly had a cold
Oh,
and
I didn't even write that down. I forgot about
Jeremiah
it.
stayed back. Hey, listen, that's kind of it. But
Yeah.
it's this is where I started getting confused because Jeremiah is like obviously going to get breakfast, like you said, and Jeremiah kinda is the one who gets chewed out for Belly getting drunk, and it seems like a lot of I mean, I every family is different, dynamic doesn't matter, but,
Yeah.
like, a lot of responsibility fell on his shoulders during this, which I didn't
Yeah.
really understood because, like, he's
No.
not the oldest, like, Conrad's running away and, doing all these things, and it just never seems like he's, like, the leader that they make him out to be, which
Yeah.
you would think would be the oldest, but
Yeah, no, I feel like it kinda sucks because it's, like, because Jeremiah is such, like, a mature child and, like, will respond to his, like, parents a lot, it seems
yeah.
like and it seems like Conrad's always been very, like, naysayer. It's almost like
Mhm.
they're like, "Well, Conrad's a lost cause, so the moment, Jeremiah, you fuck up, we're gonna go in on you twice as hard because we can't talk to Conrad at all," which seems so unfair.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I get, like, he's the golden child and, like,
Yeah.
untouchable, but then it's like the youngest has to take the brunt and then also take
Yeah.
responsibility.
Exactly, yeah, it's just not fair to him, like, Jeremiah has to carry the weight of a lot of things.
Yeah, Conrad does do the bare minimum of thanking Belly for calling her mom. And also, oh, nope, the moment's over because he's like, "You never surprise me,"
Yeah,
which is annoying. Is an
yeah,
annoying
fuck that.
thing to say.
But the mom delegates duties for breakfast. Laurel's on top of it. Mr. Fisher shows up and he's like, Laurel, I am so excited you're here to talk some sense into our children. And she goes, No, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to talk to you one on one. And then she dismisses the children and they eavesdrop as she basically levels with him to not sell this house.
She fucking goes in on him. She
Right?
lays it out. She's like, "Do it for the boys." When Susanna was alive, I tried to convince her not to get back together with you, but when she sets her mind to something, it's game over. So do this last honorable thing for her. I'm, like,
Yeah.
convinced to not go back. What a fucking
Yeah,
stab
Jesus,
to the
like, she
heart.
literally, like, opens it with, like, "You know I never liked you."
It
Like,
was
it is
nuts.
wild. Great argument, works like a charm, but
It
only on
does.
Mr. Fisher's terms. He says, "Great, we'll keep the house, Conrad, as long as you pass your exams that are tomorrow." And he's like, "Well, that's great, but I haven't studied." Um,
Mhm.
so now they have to do a little study montage.
They do. Belly and Jeremiah, they're gonna stay, they're gonna help, and we do get a little moment where it seems like we get insight into Conrad and Laurel having like a rich
Yeah,
history of being really close. He used to call her mom too.
yeah,
And I guess these are like moments that we get peppered in of like Laurel taking on a mom role in lieu of Susanna, because there's also one with Jeremiah when he's
yeah.
late to his senior banquet and Laurel irons his clothes. And it also kind of is when he's like broken up with this girlfriend.
Mhm.
And those are like two flashbacks we get before this, as Laura mentioned, a study scene where Ellie gets a reward system of like McDonald's burgers where she'll like reward, which, they can only last so long unless they have an air
Yeah.
fryer. I bet that McDonald's burgers and air fryers are so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I feel like, yeah, unless they're really fast at studying, yeah, she basically lets the boys nap while she sets up a study time. She sets up the reward system, as Meg said.
Hmm.
And during this, Belly still realizes that she does miss Conrad, and it's like, Belly, oh my God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He's, like,
But
studying, and she's like, "This is the Conrad I know and love. Get over it."
for studying, like, look, so many people study. Like, come on.
She's like, "You don't get
Um,
it. He reads." Okay. Wow, a
yeah,
hobby shared by millions?
yeah. And then what? What else does it and he still hates you? Is that a part that you enjoy too? But they pack to leave. They're gonna drive him back to college. Before they do that, they gotta get one last belly flop for the summer in there. So they throw her in the pool.
Classic.
Classic Fisher brothers being floppers. Belly and Jeremiah are having a great time on the ride to Brown though. They're singing songs. Conrad's looking at his flashcards.
Mhm. They're driving back home, they grab some Slurpees. Belly, bare minimum, shocked that Conrad remembers her favorite flavor, and when they get to the Brown campus, Conrad starts taking his exams. Jeremiah has like kind of a heart to heart with Belly, asking like, why didn't you come see me or like reach out to me after my mom passed?
Yeah.
Because he kind of had no one to talk to. Conrad is really closed off. He's not close with his dad, and it is a really sad moment. Um,
Yeah, yeah. They have like a very like open and honest and mature conversation about like grief and like what it's like to like miss this person together and like
mhm.
separately. It's very, very sweet. And then they like make their way back into the car to wait for Conrad after this exam. And Belly gets the bright idea to go, "Hey Jeremiah, does Conrad ever ask about me?" And Jeremiah tells her to shut up, essentially. Like, he literally tells her to shut up, and then he kisses her
And she's getting into it.
because she realizes, like, wait a minute, this kiss feels like good. It doesn't stress me out at all. And
Too
that's kind of
bad.
feels like that's how kissing should feel. And
Short
so they're
lived,
just making
bitch.
out.
Because Conrad sees them and he asks
Yeah.
for the necklace back. He knew the whole time she had the necklace. Why didn't
Yeah.
he give up?
And so Belly gives him the necklace back. And it's weird. And things are a little tense after this.
Things are tense. Conrad is like, you know what? Go to Jeremiah. He's the one that likes you, not me, which
Yeah.
let's calm down. Let's all
No,
calm
and
down.
but in this moment of Conrad asking for the necklace back, Belly does finally realize that Conrad never shows up for her. I don't know why it took her this long to realize this, but she realizes that like he doesn't treat her in a way that is enough for her. And she's like, this
Good.
shouldn't be how I'm treated. So they're driving back after this awkwardness, but it starts raining.
And hailing. So they have to pull off to a gas station, eventually stay at a motel. Like, you're fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, he falls asleep first. He's a heavy sleeper. And Conrad whispers in the dark motel room, saying, "You know, earlier when I said I never wanted you, I didn't mean it." And then they just fall asleep.
Yeah, Belly doesn't respond. Belly's like, I don't really know what to say to that. Because again, he's playing fucking mind games with her, and that's bad.
You think they're
And
gonna talk
then
about it the next day? No.
no, 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 because you know what Conrad's gonna do? He's gonna double down and back out of it, like he always does. He gives her a little dangle carrot and then he takes it away. Next morning, Conrad says, "Hey, my friend is picking me up. You two drive safe, don't you? Won't you?" And Belly's like, "This is it. This is really over. I'm not doing this anymore. I don't want him to do it anymore." And Belly goes with Jeremiah in the car.
They interlace fingers. They don't talk about yesterday, but
No,
they interlace fingers.
they hold hands.
And we get an epilogue. And this is a time jump, an
Kind
insane
of
one,
years later.
to Belly in a white dress, running for a car with someone, a man, we don't know who.
Yeah, and he's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And she goes, "Yes." Or maybe she says no, I don't know.
She says
Um
no. She
yeah,
says
she says
no.
no, but I'm doing it. And so I what?
I don't know.
What?
And
We don't
that's where
know.
it
That's where the book
ends.
ends. That's where the book ends. That's
Wow.
crazy. This series is so like it's so soapy. It's so fun.
I'm obsessed. I want to start the show. Gotta start it.
I know I need to start the show too. But that brings us to our top five. Um, and this is going to be our top five other places that Conrad could have ran away to because we know they went to two places to look for him. But what if the entire book was them just looking for places?
And I think it's only fair that Laura starts off with number 5 because
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
so specific for you.
Yeah, because Maggie was saying he could be more sad and run away to Cincinnati. And I said, yes, he should go to a Cincinnati and be sad at a Skyline Chili, just drowning himself in mounds and mounds of shredded cheese on whatever he ordered.
I think that sounds really good.
That sounds like a really great place for him to run away to.
Another place Conrad could have run off to is number 4. I really think that becoming a zookeeper at the St. Louis Zoo like speaks to him. I don't know
Could
why. I
be
feel like he loves birds.
yeah, he seems like a guy who just like, be like, animals are cool.
Yeah.
Um, number three, we think it would be great if, maybe he wanted to kind of live a nomadic Midwestern lifestyle and
Okay.
just go from carnival to carnival as a carnival worker. We
Mhm.
have agreed that he would either work the basketball carnival game station or he would be the guy that starts the scrambler ride.
Either one would fit his personality
And
well.
nothing else would work.
Number 2 is kinda topical to today. I know it, fits Laura and I's interests a lot, but maybe
Yeah.
he wants to go to McDonald's to get a Grimace birthday shake, and this whole thing
Hey,
is just a miscommunication.
we've heard the Grimace birthday shake is really good. We know Grimace's birthday is in the summer. It is June. Really lines up with the timeline of when he would have left, really.
June 13. Happy birthday, Grimace.
Happy birthday. Hey, from us here at Yaoi Reddit, happy birthday, Grimace. And then number one, we think this would have caused so much drama if he ran away with his ex Aubrey. Would have been nuts. I would have guzzled that like nobody's business.
Oh, yeah. I think I wouldn't have seen it coming, and it also allows Conrad to, like, let us know he has an ounce of emotion for someone.
Yeah, and then instead of like it would be two love triangles. It would be two
Mhm.
intersecting love triangles, which would have been nuts.
Which brings us to our cancel character. I feel like I can't cancel Conrad again. He was annoying. Um, but I think figuring out that Mr. Fisher cheated on his dying wife of
Yeah.
cancer, that might take the cake. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I
bad.
think we should cancel Mr. Fisher as an extension of Conrad and a creator of Conrad. Maybe the reason Conrad's such a bad guy is because Mr. Fisher exists.
Maybe they should take a sabbatical to Skyline Chili and just think about their
Yeah, maybe
thoughts.
Mr. Fisher should go on this journey of self-discovery with Conrad, if anything. Oh,
And
wow.
that's gonna be it for
Yeah.
the second book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series. If you want to keep up with us, we are Yaoi Reddit on Twitter and TikTok. Um,
Yes. And you can
yes,
also follow us at Maggie underscore and underscore Laura on Instagram. That's where we talk about the podcast and other things that we do. And you can also email us, Maggie and Laura present at gmail.com. We love an email. It's one of our favorite things.
we absolutely do.
Yeah.
And that's ta for now. Go get yourself a Grimace birthday shake. I mean, it won't be out when this comes out, but
No, I mean
maybe you enjoyed it.
this episode comes out tomorrow. I feel like it's got to be a like a couple days
Oh
thing, right?
shit! Okay, go get a Grimace
Yeah,
birthday shake.
yeah, Meg, we wouldn't be pitching the Grimace shake if this episode came out like 2 weeks from now. This is
Yeah,
still Grimace time, baby.
we won.
We won. And hey, you could win too if you go get yourself a Grimace shake. Okay, that's it. Bye.